सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखात् भाग् भवेत्. We pray for the happiness of one and all. May everyone be comfortable and happy at all levels of the personality. May we see that which is auspicious and holy. May there be no suffering anywhere. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Is the audio video clear? Okay. Can somebody say something? Say Hari Om or something.
Hari Om.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. So we were in that portion where Shri Krishna talks about the path of the moon, path of the sun. So there are different terminologies used. There's something called Kaivalya Mukti. Kaivalya Mukti is the path of direct liberation. You perform certain activities. You live a particular life with a particular mind frame, with a particular mindset. You gain straight liberation. Obviously, that will be quite tough. Then there is something called Krama Mukti, the path of no return or path of the sun, where you do good actions. As a result of good actions, you earn punya. Punya takes you to a realm of heaven called Brahma Loka or Indra Loka. You enjoy heaven, but from there, you don't return. You gain liberation. So it's liberation in stages. You experience heaven, peace, comfort. From there, you go to liberation. So there is a delay, but not too bad. And then there is a path of return. You perform good actions. You experience Brahma Loka, which could be what we have covered in the last 2-3 classes, 8.32 billion years. You spend a lot of time, a long time in a heavenly realm, but you come back to this realm. Now, all this is based on the attitude with which we work. So it's not what we do that matters, but how we do it. The same action, taking a class or doing accounting or playing a sport, counseling, any activity that we do, it could be done with the lowest attitude is doing it with a selfish, egocentric motive. What can I get out of it? And there is ego out of it. So that's just a mundane action. In fact, you gain more desires. You are strengthening, you're consolidating your individuality, which is the very opposed to the spiritual path itself. Spiritual path is all about liquidating the ego and remembering the self, becoming the divine self, which is the abode of absolute peace and bliss. That will give us the activities performed with selfish and egocentric desires. We will gain more desires, and ultimately it's sorrow and suffering. There is a lot of stress. If you're too negative, papa means suffering. It could be physical suffering, it could be emotional trauma, intellectual pain like humiliation, but ultimately suffering, that's hell. Then comes the next stage, which we should aspire to be in, well established in, is actions performed with unselfish desires or good desires. Can I be of some service to others? I don't know how I have got this talent. Now use this talent to repay. Repay means we are already receiving so much. So it's very important to be acutely aware. Every day we should be acutely aware, be grateful of all that we are receiving. We are receiving from nature. There is something called Pancha Mahayagnyas. It's a yajna is sacrifice. It's an activity where you are just grateful for all the different sources from which we have received. You're grateful for to your ancestors. Somebody discovered the railway engine, somebody discovered the aeroplane, somebody discovered radio, somebody discovered electricity. All our past, all our ancestors have done something. Therefore, the world is modern today and we are enjoying whatever we want. We can't start with, what is that? Inventing the wheel. It's already, so many things are already done. And then this generation is taking it to the next level. So we are grateful for the past knowledge. We are grateful to the knowledge of Vedanta itself. So grateful to the rishis who have preserved and given us this knowledge of life and living. Grateful to the ancestors, starting with our parents. Grateful to nature, to sun, to oxygen, to rain, to clouds, to river, every facet of life. Grateful to the farmers who are working hard and giving us food. Grateful to all living beings, human beings and all living creatures. Grateful to the different gods, that God which is making the eyes to see, that God which is making the ears to hear. All the internal organs are functioning. So we divinize it and say grateful to the gods, grateful to the five elements: fire, water, air, space, earth. So the more we are grateful and we are acutely aware of all the receipts, there is a natural motivation to repay. We cannot repay. You cannot repay your oxygen bills, but the attitude of repayment. So from there, we turn unselfish. Can I be of some service to others? The more unselfish you are, the more peaceful you will be. And by doing good karma, anyway, you're protecting yourself. By our good karma will ensure there is a divinity which will shape our end. But in unselfishness, it is still a desire-ridden activity. I want to do good. So desire-ridden activity will also generate desires. Bad desires, the selfish desires the rate at which we gain desires will be um, too much. The acceleration or the momentum with which we gain desires will be too much. Sorry. In unselfish desires, because the desire is of a better quality, the lower desires fall away. Desires pertaining to oneself are no longer that important. You are more concerned of how can I be of some service to others. You are taken care of. It's not that you are not taken care of, but your focus has shifted from I, me, my family to others, family, community, etc. So in unselfish, you're thinking of others. Then comes the real sadhana. Spiritual path starts when you are unselfish. Selfish is normal, worldly. It's not negative unless you are harming others. That's of course is negative. You can be dharmic and be selfish. Very interesting. I'm going to the office for my salary. There is nothing wrong in it, but that's not spiritual. It's not adharmic, but it's not spiritual. But I am going to the office for karma yoga so that I can exhaust my vasanas, evolve spiritually. Then it is spiritual. But even there, you could be unselfish. But after being unselfish, where you're gaining a lot of good karma, we have to see the limitation of that activity. We are still in the realm of desires. The ego has not gone. If you are able to combine unselfishness without ego, then you have slipped into selflessness. Selflessness is unselfishness without ego. So you're doing what you're supposed to do, but that thought is not there that I have to help others. You're aware that you're doing something good, but you, more than the ego, Basap is taking the class It's almost like I'm just an instrument of the divine. Now, having got this opportunity, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So selfless action is tough to understand. It is action without desires. So that's where we were in the middle of the class, we were discussing that. This selfless action, action without desires. We know the chronology of action. Chronology of action is vasana, thought, desire, action. VTDA. Vasana, unmanifest. We do not know our vasanas. When we are sleeping, everything is in vasana form. Then the vasanas comes out as thought. We say thought is at the level of the intellect. There is a difference between bearing the troubles of the world and liberating. You're asking, is there a difference between?
No,
there is a difference between bearing the
there
troubles
is.
of the world, Maya, and liberating oneself from Maya. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
Yeah, there is.
one will keep you bound in the world. One is making you transcend to the world. So bound in the world means if you are identifying with the body, mind, intellect, the ego, then you are bound to the world. The other is
But you can still see Maya and liberate yourself from it.
you can still see Maya and liberate yourself. So yeah, even that is a different experience. One level is where you understand I'm caught up in Maya. Then perhaps let's say you are enlightened, but you are still living. Then you are able to see the play of Maya. And then the complete unmanifest, we say, beyond the supreme unmanifest, where there is only absolute, there is no Maya. You overcome Maya. So there are different levels. One person is getting more caught up in Maya. He doesn't even have any awareness of Maya.
Or one rather is being able to tolerate it, like you said about
Yes.
about strength.
Right. So one is caught up and suffering. One is in
Mm.
the world, caught up in Maya, but not suffering. There are different grades. Go ahead, explain yourself.
So one is seeing Maya and being able to tolerate, tolerate the world.
Right.
Being
So he's
able
not
to
agitated by the world. So
right.
he has certain core
You're kind of
values.
you're able to kind of tolerate the world
Yeah. So not being able to tolerate the world means
with peace.
correct, correct. So not being able to tolerate the world means there's a lot of agitation, there's a lot of negative emotions and thoughts. So that's a person is totally caught up in ignorance. Thereafter, a person may be relating to the world properly, but he doesn't realize that he's still inside a prison. He's a happy prisoner, but he is not, he's a good prisoner. He's not getting agitated by the other prisoners. Then comes the awareness, oh my God, I am inside, I'm bound, I'm suffering, I am caught up in the body, mind, intellect. I'm caught up by Maya is the world, the world is an expression of Maya. So then you are aware that, okay, there is something wrong. I need to free myself. We say, mumukshatva, which is the desire to liberate yourself, that will come only when there is an awareness that there is a bondage. If you are not aware of the bondage, we will not want to liberate yourself. First, you have to realize we are bound in this realm of Maya, which is in the what is experiencing this realm of Maya? Your body, mind, intellect is experiencing the realm of Maya, the world. That's the Maya. To believe I am Basab, I am this ego, and this world can cause suffering. That's the Maya. Then person is trying to free himself. And he may have freed himself completely. He may have liberated himself completely, but he's still there. He's experiencing Maya. That's where you can probably say he's seeing Maya, but is totally detached. He knows he is the actor on stage. So the self-realized person who we see acting in the world is seeing Maya, but totally unaffected by it. If you want to connect. Right. So coming back, selfless action. Selfless action is action without desire. Now we have already covered that any action, there is a chronology, vasana, thought, desire, action. Vasanas are unmanifest, basically in sleep. We cannot know our vasanas, impossible. The intellect itself is the product of our vasanas. Intellect cannot know the vasanas. It's like the child cannot attend the parents' marriage, except probably in the Western countries. Child say, "Oh, Papa, why didn't you invite in the wedding?" The product can never understand the producer. Intellect can never understand vasanas. With the intellect, we can only understand thoughts. The repeated thoughts becomes a desire. Desire comes out into action. So this is the chronology of action. Now, how can there be selfless action where we are acting without desire? So we'll go today, last week we were doing from highest to lowest. Let's start from the lowest to the highest. The lowest form of selfless action is anybody, I mean, selfless action is action without desire. So what would it be? The lowest. The lowest is not the right word. The starting point of selfless action. Anybody? See,
Wishing well
eh,
for everybody.
wishing well for everybody. Yeah,
Wishing well for the family, for your own family.
wishing well for your own family. See, I
Keeping
am
others,
wishing. Sorry.
keeping other people in mind.
Keeping other people in mind. See, all these examples, it can be unselfish or selfless. I am wishing well for others. I want to take care of my family. Unselfish actions. If you are able to not bring in that I am doing good to others and just do good to others, that is selfless action. Now we are trying to just analyze and say, analyze what is the purpose of this analysis. Through this analysis, through this understanding, through this awareness, we have to slip into selfless action. See, it's very tough. It's not easy. I'm giving examples. What Swamiji used to say is, writing the Upanishad book is not that difficult. But to get rid of the thought, I am writing the Upanishad book is extremely tough. In the initial stage of the spiritual path, where we want to have a control over, let's say, these things which we are chasing, health, wealth, power, position, money, with a little bit of spiritual values, we realize that, okay, what the world can offer is very, very limited and we may not be chasing them. We don't have so much of a value for it. But this ego, I am a good sadhak or I am a good spiritual seeker. Ego is, that's why I think I don't remember which class. There is this phase where we are happily egoistic. Yes, I am doing it. What's wrong with it? Sir, yes, I am only doing, I have done this. So we are very proudly egoistic. Then we realize, oh my God, if I have to be spiritual, I don't have to drop my functioning. I don't have to drop my action. I can continue my dynamism. I can continue doing whatever brilliant work I'm doing. But I need not become egoistic. I'm just an instrument in the hands of divine. So there comes a phase where we are trying to be not egoistic. And then we slip into, no, I don't. What I don't have is, I don't have an ego. Of all people, I am the least egoistic. So that's the subtle ego where I am not egoistic. Of all people, I am the less ego. No, I have not done anything. I have not done anything. I have not done it. Who has done it then? So that is what we say, being egoistic, blinding darkness. I don't have an ego and you're declaring it greater than blinding darkness. So what you do, that's why Swami says, just shut up. Just shut up. So in the sense, it's not easy. It's more, each one you have to find your way. I'm just an instrument in the hands of the divine. More than I am doing it, the divine is functioning through me. The divine is functioning through me. It's all just a flow. I am doing what I can. Without that, the emphasis is I can take care of myself, or the emphasis is I have to do what I have to do, but it's all happening by the grace of God. It's all happening by the grace of God. The example of the bulb helps a lot. The bulb saying I am giving light, which is factual, but the bulb says I am giving light not without the electricity. Car is saying I move, but not without the petrol. I cannot write anything without the ink, I am writing. The pen says I am writing, but not without the ink. Without the ink, there cannot be writing. Whether I write a abusive word or whether I write something divine, the pen, I am deciding it, but not without the ink. So ego and the thought of the divine are completely opposite. Ego is the identification with the body, mind, intellect. This is basab. Opposite of that is there is a self functioning with me. My true identity is the self. I am playing the role of basab. I can't play Steven's role. I can't play Vinita's role. I have to play my role. You have to play your role. But you know you're playing a role. You are trying to find out you are trying to understand and attune to your true identity, which is the supreme self. That's how we get rid of the ego. So the simplest way of being selfless is the ego a manifestation of Brahman? Yeah, everything is a manifestation of Brahman. Ego is an expression of Brahman. It's a conditioning. It's because of Maya all this is happening, but you are now conditioned yourself to believe we are not drunk with alcohol, we are drunk with ignorance. Now, through Atma Vidya, Brahma Vidya, you have to just gain an awareness and then get into what you call hardcore unselfish activities. Can't jump into selfless activities straight away. First, you have to be unselfish and see the limitation that even in unselfish activities, you are still accumulating the karma. Bad actions, bad karma, good actions, good karma. So, karma will keep you entangled in this realm of Maya, in this realm of in the realm of experience. You're still caught up in the cycle of birth and death. Lot of good actions, 4.32 billion years, but it's still finite. It's not the infinite bliss of Atman Brahman. So that we have to at least theoretically understand. Thousand trillion billion dollars is just a dot compared to the infinite. How much ever happiness comes in the realm of Maya, in the realm of ignorance, in the realm of worldliness, it is just a dot compared to what we already have. What is our true nature? Therefore, the Upanishad says, Yah cheti vedi mahati vinashti, means if a human being, no other creature can do it. If a human being in this lifetime does not realize the self, it is Mahati Vinashti. Nashti is loss. Vinashti is great loss. Mahati Vinashti is the greatest of great loss. Inconceivable loss. We cannot understand what the infinite, what we are missing out. So they are talking about realization of the self only. If you have not realized the self, you have wasted your life. But we are saying at least attempt it. Attempt it to the best of your ability. Now that we have got the knowledge, we have got the opportunity, we should at least put in our best effort. Not doing it, and it's not like, so always again these examples helps. It's not like that story of the lion believing it is a sheep, and it goes to the master lion. It's not like the sheep has to become a lion. The lion is foolishly believing, in delusion, believing it's a sheep. The lion has to realize he is a lion. The self has to realize we are the self. We are not a human being. Right now, we are all believing we are a human being. Through this knowledge, I'll become a good human being. We are not human beings that need a spiritual life or a good life. We have to realize we are spiritual beings going through human life. So it's not difficult, but it's difficult because of our vasanas, because of our negative tendencies, because of our worldliness. Even though we have the knowledge, it's not really waking us up. Now, each one to himself. We have to gain that intuitive awareness. Practically, as long as Rajasic and Tamasic tendencies are there, this awareness cannot manifest. But if you are highly Sattvic, it's like you can realize the self here and now. Therefore, these contradictory statements. How much time to realize the self? Bahunam Janmanam, many, many lifetimes. So the not serious person gives it up. This is one lifetime I want to enjoy. Why waste this life? What is that? YOLO, no? You only live once. When I first heard it, I thought, this is the only life, so better put in all the efforts to realize the self. But the actual meaning of it is, this is the only lifetime, maja karo. In the sense, quickly, why waste this life?
But Brahma doesn't work that way.
What do you mean?
Well, it's infinite, isn't it? It's on a
Right,
different
right.
it's on a different schedule.
Yeah. Right. So, FOMO, fear of missing out on the enjoyments. And where is this? And where is Swami Ramatita says, waste? Yeah, fear of missing out, Medhavi, right? FOMO. This why don't you Swami Ramatita says, if you are just living a life chasing worldly things, anyway you're wasting your life. So now Swami Ramatita says, why don't you waste one lifetime for God? Thousands of lives you have had in the past, thousands more you may have in the future. That itself is such a sort of a panoramic view of what's exactly happening. This lifetime is like one day from the total point of view, just one day. So,
But I have a question,
mm,
Asadji. I was
mm.
speaking to a psychologist in India about
Hyderabad.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and his work in kind of tradition kind of rituals where someone takes in the goddess, takes in the goddess in a ritual, right? And just kind of observing, that process. And my question was, how can that individual contain that? Contain that, that extreme, the most infinite, experience. How can the
It's
human
not the
mind?
individual that is it is not the individual that is containing it. He through certain methods, he is able to connect to a very powerful source of energy and remain with that energy for a long time or whatever period of time. So the fact that the self is there, we are all connected to the divine, so to a infinite power. Now our identification is more with the body mind intellect, so we are most of the time behaving like a physical emotional intellectual person. But if you really attune to the spirit in you, you are in touch with that divine power. So that's a different method. Here we where that's a different path altogether, where I don't know the details how you can connect to the goddess and all that. There, it's not that it's not there, because so many people talk about it, but we stick to the traditional path of karma bhakti jnana, what you do with the body mind intellect. It's a see that those paths, it's like, you have to go to the airport. I can walk down to the airport, I can take a car to the airport, I can take a helicopter to the airport, right? So the slowest and the safest is karma yoga. Action cannot go wrong. You perform actions with the right attitude, you will reach the airport. Faster than that is using the mind. My body is the slowest. Mind, you use your emotions to connect to God. By going by helicopter is using your intellect, knowledge, discrimination, viveka and vairagya, neti, not this. So which is a very, very powerful way. And then somebody says you open this trap door, there is a tunnel, and the tunnel will straight lead you to the airport. Now the tunnel is unexplored. You don't know what's going to come out of it. So you need a very expert who knows it. So karma bhakti jnana is said to be very traditional and safe. Incidentally, you're becoming a better human being. You're doing good to others. Unselfishness, kindness, love, right knowledge, understanding. So you become the best human being. Best human being is enlightenment. Right. So the simplest form of selfless action is, am I operating from the level of the mind and doing what I desire? Good desire, obviously. Or am I operating from the level of the intellect and doing what I ought to do? This is my obligatory duty and responsibility. So it's not a desire-ridden activity in that sense. Selfless action is activity without desire, right? So it is an activity which is propelled by the intellect's discretion. This is what I ought to do, whether I like it or not. I have a talent to take classes. This is what I ought to do. I am a carpenter. This is what I ought to do. So You you consider your desires, but you fix a goal and you're operating on my obligatory duties and responsibilities. So to the extent you're operating from the level of the intellect, to that extent we say we are selfless. It's not a desire-ridden activity from the level of the mind. It's an intellect-driven activity. Of course, if it's selfless, it should be good without ego. That is understood also. But it's an intellect-driven activity. Other is an emotionally, oh, there are so many people suffering, I should serve them. So you see, a person who has started an orphanage, he may say, this year I have started one orphanage. Next year my target is 5 orphanages. Indirectly, what is he saying? Let there be more orphans. So in a emotional desire and activity, your desires are increasing. Remember this, very important. If you are operating from the level of the mind, your thoughts will diverge. It's two gears. Are you operating from the level of the mind, emotionally, impulsively, mechanically, which could be good also. Mechanically, you're good. Emotionally, you're good. Impulsively, you're good. Right? But it's a realm of mind. There's no reason or logic backing it. The other is the intellect saying what is right, what is wrong. You're operating from discretion, from your judgment, from your wisdom. So if you're operating from the level of the intellect, that's one gear. Are you operating from the level of the mind? That's one gear. When this is the law of life, when you're operating from the level of the mind, even if it's good, the thoughts are bahushaka. Bahushaka means many branched. It's diverging. But the moment we step onto the intellect, your thoughts are converging. It almost becomes single pointed, resolute. This is what I need to do. So to the extent it's intellectual, it's not desire ridden, you're slipping into selflessness. Then, okay, so this is the simplest way of becoming selfless. Operate from the level of the intellect. Now let's go back to the highest grade of selfless action. Selfless action is action without desire. So the only person who can perform selfless action is an enlightened sage, because by definition, enlightenment means that person has exhausted all his desires. So if a self-realized person is functioning, he is functioning without desires. Now, this is such a contradiction. Action means desire, thought, vasana. But enlightenment is no vasanas. How is an enlightened person functioning? To which there are people who say, no, enlightenment, I covered it, I'm repeating it. We had touched upon it last week. I'm repeating it. There are schools of thought. So schools of thought means it's not a joke. There are great intellectual sages who belong to that school of thought. They say enlightenment is only at the time of death. You can't be alive and enlightened. It's called videha muktihi. Only when you reach and when you die, you are enlightened. Of course, not everybody dying gets enlightenment. You have lived a life and you die, you got enlightenment. In between, I slipped just now. I remember. See, there are verses which says the spiritual path is bahunam janmanam. There are verses which says to reach enlightenment is as easy as a needle penetrating a rose petal. So it depends where you are. If you're very far away just starting the spiritual journey, it will take some time. If you have already purified yourself, very highly sattvic mind, just a lecture by the Guru is enough for you to realize the self. So it doesn't matter where you are, wherever you are on the spiritual path, is the direction that matters, not where you are. You may be very close to the self, but you start thinking of the world. There was a sage who was very evolved, on the verge of realization, and he saw a baby deer whose mother had passed away, and it started taking care of the deer. It became so attached that he did not realize the self that lifetime. Next lifetime, it became a deer. As you think, so you become. He became a deer and he delayed his enlightenment. So it's all dramatized to say, keep your focus, keep your focus. So how is it that enlightened sage is functioning in the world? One school of thought says only upon death you can realize the self. The other school of thought is Jivan Muktihi. where you say you can exhaust all your vasanas here and now and reach enlightenment, and you can still be functioning. It is all the scriptures are written by Jivan Muktahas who have reached enlightenment this lifetime. If we take the other stance that enlightenment is only after death, that means we are reducing the ocean of knowledge. The Veda, Vedanta, the Bhagavad Gita, all the scriptures are then written by non-self-realized beings. How can you write after death? It's before only, no? So then you're reducing the entire scriptures to Harry Potter. It's somebody's imagination. No, no, no. Enlightenment is very much possible. Jivan Muktaha. When you reach enlightenment in this lifetime, it's called Samadhi. When the enlightened person's body passes away, it's called Mahasamadhi, absolute consciousness. But even here, they are 100% attuned to the self. Their body, mind, intellect is functioning. In that stage, they have written the scriptures. So what happens is, let me put up a diagram. I'm putting a big circle. This big circle, let's say, is the mass of ignorance, the total mass of ignorance that has made us forget Brahman, the supreme reality. There is Brahman, the supreme reality, the absolute truth, which is the state of absolute bliss. But we are not aware of that fullness. We are not aware of the self. Why? Because there is a mass of ignorance that is making us forget. We're making us not aware of Brahman. That total mass of ignorance is called Sanchita. It's just a word. And it's a theory given. You cannot verify it. Intellect cannot understand what is Sanchita. It's just a, it's, you, so just, this you cannot verify. You just take it theoretically. It will make a lot of sense. It will calm the mind that, okay, maybe this is what is happening. It's a beautiful theory given out in the scriptures. The total mass of ignorance that is preventing us from knowing Brahman, Brahman is infinite, is called Sanchita Vasanas, total Vasanas. Now from that, it is said that the entire Vasanas does not manifest. There is a portion, a small portion. A small portion needs immediate fructification or immediate manifestation. That small portion is called Prarabdha. Sorry, I can't write it here properly. P-R-A, pra, R-A-B-D-H-A. P-R-A, pra, R-E-B, rab, dha, prarabdha. Prarabdha vasanas is a small portion from the Sanchita which needs to manifest immediately, which needs to express immediately, which needs to fructify immediately. When you throw seeds in a field, not all seeds will grow in the same time. Some will grow in 2 weeks, some will grow in 1 month. The bamboo tree doesn't grow first 5 years and then suddenly shoots up. So in the total mass of vasanas of Sanchita, not all vasanas are wanting to manifest immediately. Certain portion needs to manifest immediately. That's the birth of the living creature. Prarabdha could be tiger, Prarabdha could be a deer, Prarabdha could be a rat, Prarabdha could be a human birth. Now, again, see, all this cannot be verified. Just receive it, think about it. You can ask questions, but you cannot verify it. Prarabdha vasanas are said to be that bundle of vasanas with which you are born. So I am born with my Prarabdha, you are born with your Prarabdha. You cannot know what it is, but you cannot tamper with it. It is fixed. Prarabdha vasanas are fixed. As the Prarabdha vasanas gets exhausted, the human being or the living creature will die. As long as your Prarabdha vasanas needs expression, how much ever you try, you cannot die. Therefore, 95% of the suicide attempts are failures because the individual may decide, I want to kill myself. The Prarabdha is not exhausted. So how much ever they try, they are not able to, unfortunately, kill themselves. Or that state is a very sad state, but death is just not our hands. Nobody knows when and how your Prarabdha will get over. Nobody knows. It can be next moment, it can be after 50 years. How and when, the manner of death will depend on your karma. But the length, your lifespan depends on the Prarabdha vasanas, Nobody can really predict when the prarabdha vasanas will get over. You don't add or subtract to your prarabdha vasanas. It's a fixed thing. It's like the body. Now, how much of science is there, but I can't become now 6 feet tall or 4 feet tall. The body is fixed. The way certain things about you is fixed. You can't become a male or female. I mean, now they can do a lot of surgeries, but whatever you cannot change in you, it's kind of you're living your life based on that. We say that's your prarabdha. Prarabdha itself means well begun, that which has already started. It has to exhaust itself. Now, animal life is only prarabdha. Therefore, they cannot evolve or devolve. They are born as a tiger, lives as a tiger, dies away. It doesn't happen that tiger became a saintly tiger or a terrorist tiger. All animals, they are born with the prarabdha without no access to sanchita. That's why animal life is animal life. Human beings, we are all born with prarabdha like any other living creatures, but we have an access to sanchita. If you are a spiritual person, you have the capacity. And if you're a spiritual person, if you are practicing path of action, path of devotion, path of knowledge, karma, bhakti, jnana, you can exhaust your sanchita and realize the self. When the sanchita becomes zero, it is called self-realization. Self-realization is about sanchita. Or I can be extremely worldly, doing selfish, desire-ridden, egocentric activities, chasing the world to acquire and enjoy, and doing all the good or whatever I want. I'm making the sanchita fatter. I'm increasing sanchita. If sanchita increases, you need more and more prarabdhas. So that means you're caught up in the cycle of birth and death. So who is a self-realized person? While he is experiencing his prarabdha, he has exhausted all his sanchita. He's made sanchita zero. But prarabdha continues. But he's become nature. A tree just gives the tree gives fruits. It doesn't want to give fruits, or doesn't. It's not that I don't want to give fruit. The cloud just comes and gives rain. There could be a flood and people are dying, but the cloud is just giving rain. River flows, wind blows. A self-realized person is almost become like nature. There is no individual propulsion to do good or bad. Incidentally, they do good because they have been so pure. That's why they say whatever they do, it's a good action only. Example, what is prarabdha vasanas? After exhausting sanchita, as long as sanchita is there, you're driving the car. Now carefully follow. As long as sanchita is there, you're driving the car. Now suppose I press the brake, what happens? It'll stop. But suppose as I'm driving at 100 miles per hour speed, I switch off the engine, I turn off the ignition, what happens? The car will not come to a dead stop. It will go for a while because it is such a speed. It will go for a while and then slowly come to a stop. Switching off the engine is sanchita getting exhausted. But the momentum is still there, so the momentum continues. Some people like Adi Shankaracharya, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramatirtha, they had a very small prarabdha. So it's not that they're any less. The prarabdha was less. So they died at the age of 30. Some people like our Swamiji, Krishna, Buddha, they had a long prarabdha. So they had a long life where they could document a lot of things which other masters did not have the time. Of course, Adi Shankaracharya, I think he realized very, very early in age, like age of 6 or 7, I think he realized the self. He was a sannyasi at the age of 6. At the age of 6, he walked away. He was a phenomenal human being. In him, karma, bhakti, jnana was, he was an extraordinary karma yogi going all over India. Beautiful devotion he had, extraordinary knowledge he had, Advaita Vedanta. So he did a lot even in a short span of time. So what is selfless action performed by an enlightened person? He has exhausted all his sanchita, but prarabdha is continuing. So we see him acting. For all purposes, he is a switched off engine. He's just an expression of nature. You see? So this is good to hear, but it is not helpful for us. Self-realized person is doing selfless action. Good for him. How does it help us? It can inspire us, but we are not self-realized. So That is the highest grade of selfless action. And actions performed by an enlightened person are selfless action because there is no individual propulsion to act. Then the next grade, selfless action, is given to us as sadhana, that non-enlightened people have to do it. So the next grade is, there is only one desire which is beyond the world or out of the world. That is the desire for enlightenment, desire for self-realization. See, we talk about self-realization in class as if it's something on the menu, but we don't know what it is. We really don't know what it is, right? So, but if through knowledge and inspiration you see some people talking about it, if somebody gets that desire, mumukshatva, okay, I also want to seek enlightenment. I also want to liberate myself. If you're doing something with the goal of self-realization in his mind, since it is a goal beyond the world, we say it is a action without any worldly motive, without any worldly desire. So that also becomes a desire, that also becomes an action without desire. So it is an action without worldly desires. All desires are worldly. There is only one desire which is not worldly, which is the desire for enlightenment. So if somebody is inspired, I am drinking water because I want to realize the self. I am drinking the water selflessly. So you can dedicate, oblate any action. I'm taking shower because I want enlightenment. I'm going for boating because I want enlightenment. I'm taking the class because of enlightenment. So this is the crux of it. The same action, I'm doing it for money, nothing wrong, but selfish activity. Same action, I am working in my office to serve my company, unselfish action. Now, I am a gardener, I am a preacher, I am a teacher, I am playing cricket, I am doing music. Same action I am doing, but internally my goal is I want self-realization. I'm not interested in anything in the world. The internal dedication is through this action, I want to realize the self. If anybody is able to maintain that thought, you cannot maintain that thought if you're too selfish and egocentric. You will say, the mind will rebel. What is in it for me? You have to understand, you have to feel inspired that there is a self, and that is self is the kingdom of heaven. That is self is Satchit Anand. There is absolute bliss in that. You have tried out the world, you have found it wanting, it's hurting you, there is a lot of suffering in the world. You observe it, you experience it, you have tried good activities. There also there is a limitation. Something good happens, it fades away. Something good happens, it fades away. So realizing the ephemeral, changing, limited nature of what the world can provide, then only you can sustain the desire for self-realization. We say you have to realize the absurdity or futility of worldly pursuits. First, you should have a sense of contentment. If you have never tasted something good, you can't really give it up because my mind may have a value for it. But once you have experienced it and you have gained the knowledge of the scriptures, then you realize, okay, what's the point of wasting such a precious human birth only for something limited? Even if it is 4.32 billion years, it's limited, it's finite. Let me seek enlightenment. So when that desire, it's almost like a good virus. That virus enters you that, no, I want enlightenment. I want enlightenment. So the most serious seeker, he is also going about normally like all of us. But he is dedicating all his activities to self-realization. Then that activity becomes an activity without desire, without a worldly desire to realize the self. See, in cricket, Virat Kohli, he scored 100. He says, I have dedicated this century to my wife. I dedicated this century to my teammates. I dedicated this century to India. It can be anybody. I dedicated this century to my friend who lost his father. It could be anything. So as you think, so you become. Whatever is going on in your mind, that desire you develop. If I am I'm giving a spiritual class, but my thought is on name, fame, power, position, then this activity is also materialistic. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Whereas I do a simple action of cooking a meal or tying my shoelace, or, or speaking to somebody, but the goal is, oh God, through this action, I want to realize the self. I want to realize you. I want to get enlightenment. Then that activity Because your mind is on the self, which is beyond the world, that becomes an activity without worldly motives. But that is also it is a difficult thought to sustain. Unless you're really inspired, you will not be able to sustain it. So you can, I'm not discouraging you, but why I'm speaking in this kind of a tone is because unless you are a very pure, good human being, it's a mockery just to see, just because you've heard it in class, I want to realize the self, I want to realize the self. No, become a good human being, then dedicate all your actions to the goal of self-realization. A
But
selfish, egocentric, wicked person cannot realize the self. Yes, yes, Stephen.
I think to do it, it helps knowing the scriptures inside and out. So you have something to come back to, something to feed that,
Yeah. So the scriptures,
feed your mind.
absolutely. So the entire knowledge of what the world, what is the world, what are you, what are bad activities, what are good activities, the different pointers to God. So the different angles in which we study the scriptures, they they have this. So the keep these things in mind. One is an understanding of our relationship with the body, mind, intellect, and the ego and the world. What is changing? So we have to negate that, detach and negate, and then do what? Assert that which is all pervading, that which is eternal, that which is changeless, that which is the enlivening principle, petrol, electricity. All the pointers to God helps you to assert your real nature. So one is the understanding of God, one is the limitation of the Maya, the limitation of the world. So what is your relationship with the body, mind, intellect? Negate, negate that. Assert the Atman, which we cannot know now, but we are that self. So the desire for self-realization is theoretical, then it becomes practical as you evolve as a good human being. Finally, so I've covered this three categories. Selfless action is performed by an enlightened person. How is an enlightened person acting? He has exhausted all his sanchita, so he is self-realized, but his prarabdha is going on, so therefore he is acting. But he's like a switched off car. He's just going because of the momentum. Or he's like a sun. Sun is not saying I have to give light. He's just giving light. So whatever enlightened person does, there's a enlightened person was a butcher. He was a self-realized butcher. So now whether he was there or not, we don't know, but he's just nature. It's just flowing. So that's inspiring, but not helpful. Second is, if you are able to perform actions with the goal of self-realization, that desire will increase. That is the last desire. That is the highest form of selfless action. Simplest form of selfless action, start operating from the level of the intellect. It doesn't matter what my mind desires. Is this my obligatory duty or responsibility? Do what you ought to do. Right? Now, so one is left. 4 grades: highest covered, second highest covered, simplest covered. The second highest is it's all kind of overlapping. Just do what you're supposed to do. The river flows, the wind blows, sun gives light. You have a nature, we all have a talent. Just express yourself without any ego. So functioning like nature, the nightingale sings, whether there is an audience or not. Will I take a class if nobody is there? The cow gives milk. The rose gives fragrance. So so what a carpenter does, carpenter teacher teaches. You just do what you're supposed to do. Of course, it is a good activity only, but there is no thought that I am being helpful to others. I am just an instrument in the hands of the divine. So without any ego, you just express yourself. So that is selfless action. Just do what you're supposed to do. One is you're consciously thinking of what is my duty and obligations. The other is you're just flowing. There is neither an ego that I am doing, neither is this that I have to do good to others. So that's the highest form of selfless action. In selfless action, the karma doesn't come back to you. See, karma will come only when the ego says, I am doing it. It's writing a letter. I write a letter to Medhavi in Nagpur, and I say from Basab, if Medhavi refuses, the letter comes back to me. That's an egoistic action. I am doing bad, bad karma will come. I am doing good, good karma will come. It's just happening through me. It's just happening through me. So you just express yourself. So through extreme unselfishness, through extreme consistency in your swadharma, through extreme awareness of the divine, you slip into selfless action. You can't really practice it, because the moment you say I'm practicing it, it's like the I comes in. I am practicing it. You have to just do it. Therefore, Swamiji says, just shut up. Don't think I am doing it, I'm not doing it. Just flow with the activity. So we have to first be good, and then only we slip into selfless action. Therefore, Kaivalya Mukti, direct liberation, is very tough. First, engage yourself in good activities. Get into a realm where you're peaceful and comfortable. Realize its limitation. Keep gaining knowledge to seek the self. So what are the questions I had put on in the group? How does a self-realized sage act even after exhausting his desires? He has exhausted his sanchita. Prarabdha continues. So that's the life of an enlightened person. What are prarabdha and sanchita vasanas? Sanchita is the total mass of vasanas. Prarabdha is that small portion which needs immediate manifestation. How can one perform selfless action? Action without desires. So, yeah, action without desire is when you are not identifying with the mind's desire, you're operating from the level of the intellect. You're operating as nature. Whatever your talent, you're just expressing itself. Then add the desire for self-realization. That's not a worldly desire. Self-realization is transcendental, beyond the world. I want to reach enlightenment. So start dedicating your activities to the goal of self-realization. So so that's why spiritual life is what's happening inside your mind. Where is your mind? I can be in a temple and be very commercial. I can be in a business organization and be extremely spiritual. I can be running a company or be a whatever, a lawyer or a doctor. But because I am studying the scriptures early in the morning, I am trying to help my patients with the goal of self-realization. I'm trying to help my clients with the goal of self-realization. That's not an easy thing to sustain, but at least remember that I am just an instrument in the hands of the divine. The 15th chapter he says, O Arjuna, Nimitra Matram Sabhyasachin. Sabhyasachin, I think, is a who can multidexterous. Both he can shoot with the right hand and left hand. So probably Arjuna was like that. But Nimitta Mat, just be an instrument. Instrument of what? In the hands of the divine. Stephen is playing Stephen's role. Vinita is playing Vinita's role. Prakash is playing Prakash's role. We have to play our role. Whatever is your role, just play it to the best of your ability. With the awareness, the goal is to identify and reach the self. So, selfless action takes you to direct liberation. Selfish action keeps you bound to earth, worldly life. Unselfish actions will take you to Brahmaloka. Now, if it's just unselfish actions without the thought of the divine, you come back. Path of return, path of moon. You do good, come back. But if you are able to combine good activities with the goal of self-realization, then it's called liberation in stages. The path of no return. You go to Brahmaloka and then you evolve to self-realization.
Can you just give one more example about Sanchita and Prarabdha?
So there is no example in the sense, any activity, I can't say I am taking this class because it's my Prarabdha. I can't say that I'm taking this class because of Sanchita. The thing is the equipment with which, in the sense, any example. So let's say, okay, you were here a couple of weeks back, right? Prakash was here where I was, and we were having the class, and we were in the middle of a very interesting discussion. So I said, "What are you doing now?" So we are going for there is an activity called forest bathing. Now, I may not have the direct desire for going for that activity, but I went. So in my head, I can say that was my prarabdha. But you can't really say that. So when things just happen, we say it was part of my prarabdha. It means there are certain things in life you have to experience. See, when you are sometimes what happens is you have to reach a place, and there's no train, there's no bus. So you take a lift with an unknown person. And now it has many times it has happened. Bombay to Academy, I have to go and take a lift with an unknown person. Now halfway through, in the middle of the expressway, you realize, my God, this guy is not that safe a driver, right? Now you have a choice to get down and get stuck in the expressway, or you say, if my prarabdha is there, I'll reach. If my prarabdha is not there, even if Michael Schumacher comes and drives, I will die. But the point is that it's just that we are saying we cannot know for 100% because the faculty with which we understand anything is the intellect. Intellect is the faculty with which we understand anything. Intellect itself is a product of vasanas. So vasana itself is unmanifest thought. Now in that the intellect cannot say this was my sanchita, this was my prarabdha. It is a brilliant theory given by the enlightened masters to help us understand what could be happening. How is it? Prarabdha has only two usage. In the because I have been in the academy and trained under Swamiji, I know anybody asking too many questions of Prarabdha and Sanchita, he will entertain it for a while. After that, he will really attack because for our purposes, we have to exhaust all vasanas to realize the self. To say this is my Sanchita, this is my Prarabdha is it's absurd because the intellect cannot say, I am taking this class I am taking could be my prarabdha, this class I am taking could be my sanchita. I cannot know. How can I know where it is coming from? Prarabdha is that you had to go through it. So if this is something I have to go through it, it's my prarabdha. But if it is something I'm choosing to go through it, then it's sanchita. So sometimes when some things just happen, like I did not know Naukachya Tal, so I can say that 2 months of my life, it was my prarabdha that I have to experience this. But it could be part of my sanchita. You can't really know. Intellect can never know the vasanas. Intellect is the product of vasanas. So you cannot really know. But the theory helps a lot. Like I said, sometimes we see things when suddenly something happens. And we say, okay, this was my prarabdha. So it gives the mind a relief. Okay, anyway, it was not in my control. So this was my prarabdha. This is my prarabdha. Or you have to go through something. You are forced to go through something, or you suddenly something happens. We say this is my prarabdha. The point is, sanchita you can choose. Whether I'll have breakfast or not is something I'm choosing. So that's my prarabdha, my sanchita. Because prarabdha you can't choose. It will anyway happen. Okay, so now I think I made it clear. When you're going through something which you are like helplessly going through, we say it's your prarabdha. Because you didn't want to go through it, but you're going through it. But if you're choosing to go through something, that is sanchita. But you have not really, it's not that what you have analyzed can be 100% correct. What you are going through helplessly could also be a sanchita. And you may choose something which could be prarabdha. So, two areas where we use prarabdha and sanchita is, in all other areas, you have to exhaust your vasanas. Don't say, oh sir, I was negative because this is my prarabdha. Don't misuse prarabdha. Prarabdha is only to explain, only when prarabdha vasanas get exhausted, the person dies. So if some death has happened, philosophically we say his prarabdha has ended. It could be a baby, it could be an elderly man, doesn't matter. The moment prarabdha vasanas end, the person dies. Therefore we say you have no control over your death because it is all depends on your prarabdha. And the other area is what we covered. How is an enlightened person functioning? If he has exhausted all his vasanas, how do we see his functioning? So then we say he is functioning because of his prarabdha. He is exhausted all his sanchita. He is in a realm of absolute bliss. He is no longer attached to the body, mind, intellect. He is using the body, mind, intellect like how I'm using the glass and the phone. He is the self using his personality. Today, I am this personality trying to realize the self. But the enlightened person is just, his prarabdha is going through. So he's completely switched off, the car is going. So in that prarabdha, intellect is functioning, he's deciding, he is planning, he is scheming, but he has got almost nothing to do with it. He is an actor on stage. He knows he is the self, just playing a role. If people are interested, he gives knowledge. People are not interested, he is in an absolute realm within himself.
Thank you.
Thank you. It got some examples out of me. But yeah, you can't say a particular activity is prarabdha or sanchita. It could be both. Person is singing, he says, it's my prarabdha. So point is something we go through helplessly, without even planning. That can be taken as prarabdha. Body is prarabdha. Definitely the body is prarabdha. But that doesn't mean you become fat and say, oh, this is my prarabdha. We have a choice to be fit or unfit. That is then sanchita. If you're really interfering with the body and becoming like, what do you call that, sex change surgeries and all that, if you're doing, then you can't really, you cannot tamper with prarabdha. But whatever you're tampering with falls in the realm of sanchita. Animals have no access to sanchita. Therefore, there is no evolution or devolution. Evolution or devolution is happening with reference to the sanchita. If you are making sanchita bigger, you're devolving, you need more multiple lifetimes. If you're reducing sanchita, you're evolving. If you make sanchita zero, you are enlightened. So, you have for a sadhak, you have to exhaust all vasanas. Don't unnecessarily bring in sanchita and prarabdha in any other activity except to understand what is the life, how is a self-realized person functioning, and death. Even death is just an understanding. It should relax you. Anyway, it's not in my control. Why bother about it? When I'm going to die, it's not in my control. I could die tomorrow, so therefore let me use my today to the best of my ability. Because tomorrow, if I die, I should carry my sattvic nature to next lifetime. I'm not going to carry my family, my health, karma you will carry. So do good karma for the sake of self. The mind and intellect is what we're going to carry forward. And prarabdha could end any moment. So we jokingly say, prarabdha could end any moment. Pralaya, externally, pralaya could happen any moment. So better get on and try to realize the self ASAP, as soon as possible. Right. We'll end with the prayer, if there are no questions. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you,
Hari Om.
Basant.
Thank you, Basant ji.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you.